So just as a recap, I'm Heather Berkness. I'm a school counselor in the district. I work with refugee, immigrant, and the Indian Education Program, and I'm here with Tracy Locke.
Hello, everybody. As I'm trying to figure 3 devices out at the same time, the queen of multitasking.
You'd think, you know, with enough
I'm Tracy Locke. I'm a
technology.
counselor at Del Campo High School.
And so tonight we're going to do workshop number 2 with the Keys to College series. And tonight we're going to log everyone on to Naviance, which is our academic planning software package. Actually, it's internet, it's web-based, so you guys can access it from home or anywhere. We're going to take a look at Q tonight, which is the parent portal. We're going to walk through all of that great information that's out there for kids so that you can see it and see how accessible it is. We're going to talk about best practices for these tools, because I think all of us counselors, and I think a lot of us parents have seen some of the different tools that are available to us be used for good, and sometimes they can be used for not so good. So it's really helpful to have them as an access tool. But we always start each series with that conversation about where we're at social and emotionally with kids. So one of the things we know is that being a teenager isn't easy. And if you were to ask anybody in this room, and we'll ask it tonight, how many people in this room would be willing to go back and do 14 over again? Really? Okay. Yeah. No, I know. If I could take what I know now. Oh, it is so, 14 was such a hard time. And I think we know that and remember that so easily because parenting a 13, 14-year-old is so hard as well. And I don't know about you guys, but I know for myself personally, I feel like the stakes have been so high that I don't know why I don't feel that my kids can make the same mistakes as I do and it would be okay. I turned out relatively all right, you know, fumbled a little bit along the way, made mistakes, tripped and fell, but was able to get up, wipe off, keep going. And for some reason, I feel so inclined to make sure they don't trip over the same bumps I did. And I feel like the things I learned the most from were those little trips and falls along the way where I had to kind of dust myself off, was horribly humiliated and embarrassed, and keep going, you know, chin up and go forward. But we do want parents to know you're not alone in this. One of the most important things I think I've learned as a parent is that my community of parents and the people sitting around you tonight are a wealth of knowledge. I get my best ideas from my friends. I know when my boys were going through that Xbox phase where they gamed all the time, I had a girlfriend tell me that she did a program in the summer where her kids read for Xbox time, and it was hour for hour. So if you read for an hour, they got an hour of Xbox time. Okay, that was the bomb. That was the best solution I've ever had someone give me. And my kids became, you know, voracious avid readers over that summer because if they read for 5 hours, they felt like they could get 5 hours of Xbox time. So it was just the best, it was the best help I've ever had. And so the stakes are awfully high. I'd love to go around today and I'm gonna just ask all the kids to share with us what they're thinking about being when they grow up. And I'd like every parent to share what they thought they were gonna be at 14. I know. So I'll go first. So I really thought I was going to be a singer. I was like the next Pat Benatar. Kids don't even know who that is, but I was all ready to cut my hair and, you know, I have a microphone. So I was ready to go and be Pat Benatar. I took choir from the time I was in kindergarten all the way up. And I love being a school counselor. So yeah, I still sing, yes.
I've never heard you sing.
Oh yeah, no, I do.
All I know is I wanted to go to a foreign country. That's all I know.
Yeah, good dream. Yes.
Teacher or writer.
Great goal.
An accountant, and I'm
Welcome.
An architect.
An architect. Good goal. Yes. An electrical engineer. Kids have access to so much more.
I don't think I knew what an engineer was at 14.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to be a vet,
A vet, yeah, work with animals.
military.
Military. A musician. This is,
There you go.
and are you, do you still play? For fun, yeah.
Comic writer.
Comic writer, good.
Nurse.
Nurse,
Football player.
football player,
Where were you last week when we were looking for the athletes?
meteorologist. Yes, I said it right.
Meteorologist.
Okay,
Nice.
good. Yes.
Nurse.
Nurse. Okay, anybody even close to that initial dream?
Any adults out there? even
Any
close?
adults, yeah, out there that are kind of
There
working
you
in
go.
that
She works in healthcare.
field? I think that's wonderful. Hey, I sang to my
sophomore
kids
year, you
every
skipped
night.
me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss Locke.
My sophomore year in high school, I decided I wanted to be a child psychologist. So I was close.
You were close. I know.
Got there.
I know.
But I was a sophomore when I was 14.
Oh, you were young.
I know I graduated at 17 and I graduated college at 20. So I was a little young.
Overachiever.
I know.
So I think that what this speaks to, though, is that a lot of us had lofty goals when we were younger, and we do evolve as we get older. We learn more about ourselves. We learn more about the world that's out there for us, and things do change. I'm not any less satisfied. You know, the whole singer thing would have been a great gig. I would have had to travel. There would have been a lot of crazy with that. I like my little life.
Because we make choices as we gain information. And there's no possible way that you can make a definite choice right now sitting in school because you don't have all of the information. You couldn't possibly. A huge chunk, I had the statistic in my brain at one point in time, of careers available are not even in existence yet for when you're in your 20s. So things are changing all the time.
That's such a good point. There will be things available to you as kids that you don't even know exist yet. They may not even exist yet. And I don't know if any of you saw the press today in the news. So today is Back to the Future Day, right? Everybody see that? Okay. Very
October
cool
21st.
with the big 3D. This was the day they went to in the future. Some things were a little close, right? We have 3D movies and things out there, but not all those things are yet at fruition. You know, we can imagine things, but they're not all there yet.
No.
And so it's like that with the life of a young person as well. The pieces are still falling into place. There's still footsteps laying in front of kids that haven't been cemented to the ground yet.
And college is the same exact way. Colleges are introducing majors all of the time. The latest major to sweep across the college campus is actually game design.
Oh yeah, no, my son's at a
You
campus.
can major in game design, and there are so many specialized degrees. Even when you go into graduate school, my son is looking at graduate school, and there are dual MBA engineering programs where you can get your MBA and your MS in engineering. You could get your law degree and engineering degree linked together in a cohort 5-semester program. There are so many options. There's so many specialized different areas that you could go into. Sales engineering. Like sales engineering? Yeah, you could go into sales engineering. Okay. You never know what's going to be out there. Just keep your eyes open.
But I do think what's fascinating is that so many kids in this room already knew of careers that I don't think I knew existed Architects existed when I was younger, but I don't think I knew about the world of work and the world of careers when I was 14. And I think kids have access to so much more information about the world of work. And that's really exciting. So they get to start
Because
sampling and tasting.
information is at our fingertips. Information is the key to learning and growing and discovering all your options, and it's at your fingertips, and it will be created to meet your needs if you seek it out. Everything that was mentioned requires some sort of advanced education. Education past high school. And the more you educate yourself, the more options are available to you. But that was last week. We don't need to go into that.
So true, though. So, what's a parent to do? Honestly, I think my kids and the kids I work with really grow through the conversation. You know, the conversation is so meaningful. So us as parents, knowing a little bit more about the world of work, I think we tend to know a lot about the world of work. We know the work we do. We know the work the people do around us. Like in education, I could talk a lot about all the different careers that exist in education. And before I did this job, I was in insurance. So I could even talk to my kids a little bit about that work. It's been a while now. But the more you share with your kids the work that you're doing, you know, because it's interesting, my husband's an accountant, doesn't talk about his work. I don't think our kids, they really think he sits at a 9-key thing and just that is really a very small part of the work he does. So sharing with them, helping them set academic goals for their future, setting high expectations, because although A through G is a component of getting to college, really it's the real life skills you learn and the depth of knowledge you have in those areas that really will propel you. That the algebra goals and the English goals and the social studies goals, they exist for a reason. They offer kids 21st century skills to be successful in work. Nowadays, we spend a lot of time on email and we do a lot of writing on a daily basis. I don't think that existed 20 years ago before computers were in place. Knowing how to write, knowing how to convey a message, how to describe things with clarity, such a vital component of the work we all do. So talking about college in our homes, learning about what it takes to go to college, all of these things are such key and important tasks to do in our homes with our kids, finding that time. Any questions about that?
We're going to talk about Q more.
Yes.
More and more schools are using Schoology, and Schoology isn't a part of really even our conversation last year or the year before. It's really new this year. The websites for this whole district have changed. A lot of schools are going away from the traditional websites and posting their information on their websites and doing it all through Schoology. How many students out here, just Schoology? That your teachers use Schoology pretty much for everything. Calendars are posted on Schoology, everything's posted on Schoology. How many parents knew that? How many parents have access to their kids' Schoology?
Good.
It's not linked through the parent login. It's not linked through the parent queue. You have to have that communication with your student and have your students log in to be able to see that, to see what's posted on Schoology for your student.
And it's a critical tool for kids. That's why you see many more students using it at the middle and high school level. But I think younger kids are going to be getting on this platform. It's just a great
So then
tool.
Schoology becomes a pace, a calendar. This is what's to come. This is what I'm working on. These are the projects that are coming due. Whereas Q is just a history. It's just, it's everything that's in the past. It's your grade book. It's things that have gotten posted on your grade book, not even assignments that are to come. Some teachers post out some due dates with assignments, but not a whole lot, especially when you get to the high school level, because then it messes with the calculations.
And if someone wants to, if we want to see Schoology, I can certainly pop off and log on to my own Schoology and we can look at, it shows things that counselors are posting for each other and what's going on out in the world. This is a slide, as you could tell, the flow of this conversation is supposed to kind of work its way back to what doesn't work for kids. I think these are things we have learned ourselves. I think this is parenting old style a little bit, and still parenting current. Like I said, I've got 2 boys. I hate to say it, the nagging really does work. It's exhausting for everybody, myself, my children, my husband. But at the end of the day, the trash typically gets out if I ask 5 or 6 times. So, and I think but it's important to recognize it's not the best way to communicate to my kids. And I think it gets frustrating for all of us when we resort back to these old skills of arguing, nagging, lecturing, rescuing.
Oh, but it feels so good. Those lectures are just, there's so much of a release to just get all that information out there.
It's so true. I mean, I don't know how many times have you as a parent, because I'm guilty of this, thought, okay, clearly he's understanding the importance of doing it this way, but I really need to say it so that he knows all the nuances to it. There are sometimes I over-communicate the details of a task, knowing that they're starting to stumble down the path, but it just makes me feel so much better to say it out loud. So we're all working on improving our dialogue with our kids and refining the techniques that we use as parents. Okay, what does work? The good stuff.
Okay, you know, this is, I was going to put in a couple of slides right at this point.
Okay, oh, we'll pop them in?
And talk about growth mindset. No, I'm not going to now. I'm just going to talk about it, and I'll
Okay.
put them in week 4. Because
Okay.
we talk a lot about motivating behaviors and the performance values in week 4. So I'll put them in there. Has anybody heard of the book Growth Mindset? Anybody read? No, nobody's heard of it. They haven't read it. It is a good read. It is a wonderful. It's not parent. It handles parenting issues, but issues in the workplace. It's basically a potential to drive your potential. It's by Carol Dweck, D-W-E-C-K, and it's Growth Mindset, and it basically talks about the concept of your mental capacity and the motivations that you have towards your behaviors based on how you think, based on how you approach something. With the idea of positive reinforcement, yeah, positive reinforcement is a great idea, but studies show time and time again, it's how you mentally approach something will determine your success. You know, for example, in math, if all those math lovers out there, they have math confidence. Any not real math lovers out there that math is not something that their favorite? How many times do you sit down in front of a test or in front of a problem, or a teacher puts something on the board, and the first message you say to yourself is, oh, I can't do that. Oh, that's too hard. Whoa, I'm done. You're done. If you change your mindset, that's called a fixed mindset, to have that fixed, stagnant mindset. If you change your mindset to develop I can't do that yet. Oh, I haven't figured that out yet. Whoa, that's way beyond me. For now. That's okay, there's the mountain. I can do it. I can get over that. I can gain the tools that I don't have now to get there. You have to have that mental growth mindset in order to accomplish the task.
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt and just ask, how many people here saw The Martian?
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, so good. Oh, I bet it was a better book than the movie. The movie was fabulous. But what I love about that movie is that growth mindset. It would be really easy to say, oh, I'm done. You know, the ship left. I'm done. And he continues to just step forward, step forward, step forward.
But the whole key with the book, the whole premise, the whole reason I get so psyched out about it is because it's never too late. Their belief is really, even if you're in a very entrenched fixed mindset now, even if as a parent you've fostered unknowingly a fixed mindset in your children, even if as a teacher you're promoting a fixed mindset just by the way you communicate or by the way you give praise or by the way you teach, it's never too late to make small changes to start promoting that growth mindset. Whereas the reward is not in the end result, it's in the effort. Where it's wow, you worked really hard on that, that sense of pride of I'm gaining it, to oh wow, you did a good job. It's those little specifics, whatever.
Well, and I do have to say that for our kids, I think we all know people that may not have been straight A students, but are highly successful in life and in work. And I think part of that too is that they just continue to move things forward.
Exactly.
It's really easy as a parent to get caught up in the straight A component of the end result when we see the report card and the expectations that go with the report card. But really it's how your child has grown and what they're learning and what they now know versus what they used to know. That's the vital component of the work they're doing.
Exactly. So it's a good read, Mindset by Carol Dweck.
All right, we're still on what works.
Yes.
Okay, active listening. So a meaningful component of what goes on for our kids. I think as counselors, we do a lot of this work with kids, that active listening, where we're present. One of my youngest kids, when they were super little, and my child was not special in this, that she would do this. I've seen other kids do this with their parents as well. If I was doing a million things and she was talking, and you know, little kids, they just are constant running dialogue, she would stop me and put her hands on my face and tell me what she wanted me to hear. And I think that that's very true. When kids get to be about this age, they don't do that anymore. They don't put their hands on your face and say, "Mommy, listen to me." But it's so important that we take that moment and stop and remember that we need to kind of put our own hands on our face and refocus. It's so easy to lose that focus because honestly our lives are so busy. Kids at this age, when my kids were this age, we didn't have to get to basketball practice and find time for homework and make dinner before 6 o'clock so we come to this class and do all the things that we're doing. Now we do. And so it is really important to take that moment and think, okay, I need to give just a couple minutes of active listening, really hear what my kids are telling me about their lives, ask meaningful questions, know who they're with and what they're doing, all of those details.
And also give credit to where credit is due. I mean, it didn't take long for my son to kind of surpass me on many levels of what he knew over what I knew. And they know more about their own lives than you do. And you might think that that's not true as a parent, but it is. So to give them that kind of respect in a way, it really helps communication. My daughter tells me all the time I talk to her too much like a counselor, so I have to rein it in. She's like, "Mom, cut it out." And I'm like, okay.
But it's an important component of the relationship. We just had a conversation today, Tracy and I see each other here and there at work, about how important it is not to forego the relationship, that the relationship always has to be the key component of what we have with our kids. It's so easy to forego the relationship for discipline, to forego the relationship because we're busy, to forego the relationship for a wide variety of reasons. And that relationship really is the key component in that talk that we do with kids, even if, like for my husband and my son, even if it's about the 49ers. You know, it's a key component to the core of their relationship. There's so much dialogue for them in that, and there's such a sense of connection there. It doesn't necessarily always have to be about deep down in your soul, how were you today? Really, you can tell me. Sometimes it really is something a lot lighter, like, oh, I really liked that mac and cheese today. That was the best. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we need to engage in just the conversation and the talk of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so encouraging positive activities. I think a lot of us know that. We're here. You know, we're encouraging those kind of activities, sports, clubs, youth groups. If you were to go and look up pretty much any data around young women and sports, you'd see a whole bunch of positive attributes associated with it. It's the same with young men. They tend to stay in school longer. They are better students. They're more employable. I mean, there's all sorts of real positives. The more your children are involved, the more likely they are to be successful and be able to balance their lives like the rest of us try to do. All right, anything about friendships?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, understanding, pacing, and foundational skills. All right. So, with this one, I think it's so important to recognize that we take steps in our lives. Even now, as adults, we take steps in our lives, and that it's really meaningful to continue to just always move forward. I have a lot of kids that retake classes, and it's okay to retake a class. What I tend to tell kids is classes here are free. Classes here are free. That's such a good thing. We don't tend to get that in life. And the knowledge that we gain here is vital for our ability to be successful later. So if you really aren't getting it, a lot of kids retake Algebra 2. If you're really not getting it, give yourself the benefit of the doubt to try again and to keep going.
Spanish.
Oh my gosh, right? Yes.
AP. You can retake an AP class, and
it's fine.
It's fine. It's recommended. It's so great. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're applying to a CSU, and most out-of-state schools, you only put the highest grade on your application. On your applications in California for public schools, the classes that they use to determine whether or not they admit you or not are all self-reported. They don't even want to see a transcript until after they've given you an admissions decision, and then they double check that everything you said was accurate.
Yeah, they do want you to be truthful.
Yeah,
but yeah,
they do check.
That is important.
You can't just make up stuff.
Yeah.
Because they do check. And if you're not accurate in what you said you did, or if you said you were going to take a class senior year and you ended up earning a D, and you get in and you go to school, they will knock on your dorm room door and kick you out after they.
That it does.
It's happened.
happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do they penalize you if you take AP statistics 3 times?
No. They take the best grade. Yeah.
So you can keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now it only counts.
It's okay.
It only counts for credits once.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
That's where the rub comes in. So you have to look at, am I making progress in getting all my graduation credits. Requirements in? Because they only count credits for the class one time. Now UCs want to see everything that you've done, but they only calculate the highest grade in your GPA. CSUs, it's all self-reported, and you only report the highest score. You don't even tell them about the other ones. They don't even know how many times you've taken it. I've had students that took honors English 2 and got a D and then a B, and that D doesn't meet those A through Gs, so senior year they go into an APEX class and
Apex is an online platform.
online credit recovery platform that we have in the district now, pretty universally through all high schools, I think, and they make up that English 2 from sophomore year. So when they're applying for schools, it looks really funny because they say, oh, in 10th grade I took honors English second semester, and then there's nothing for first semester, and then 11th grade I took English 3, and then 12th grade I took English 4, and then they also put English 2 in there. But at the end, they have all their requirements. CSUs admit students by computer. Basically, they take all your information, they spit out an index number, and we'll talk about more of that next
And I
week.
think we talked a
But
little
it's all
bit
by
about it
computer.
last time. I just went online and calculated, so I looked it up. I have a senior, so I went online and thought, I'm going to figure out my son's index score so I know what I'm working with. And sure enough, you can, there's a nice little formula. I just typed in CSU index score and got a little calculation that I needed to put
so
together.
a student can take take AP statistics 3 times.
So great. Discussing college. I think this is such an important process. In this, honestly, discussing college is really convoluted. It's real easy to kind of talk UC, talk CSU. We talk a little junior college in our house, community college. I've got one that is just so primed for community college. He's just really not ready to go anywhere. He's kind of you were a younger, but he's going to graduate at 17. Knowing your child, knowing what they're ready for, and then being prepared to be blown away by when they completely exceed your expectations is, I think, a really hard part of it. I try to keep high expectations, but every now and then your kids can surprise you and do more than you thought.
Or the other way around.
Or the other way around. All right, so replacing a grade. We talked a little bit about replacing a grade by retaking a class. I'd say one of the biggest stumbling blocks for kids in terms of going to college, and one thing I see more than any other thing, is a D in English. The D in English is typically that stumbling block that if kids don't realize they need to retake that D, it will keep them from being A through G. We do need 4 years of English. A D in English will completely halt your ability to be A through G eligible.
Right. And this is a lot about understanding the pacing and the foundational skills. Is that math conversation that we were having last week a little bit. It's not a race to get to calculus. It's really not going to help you in your college admission, whether it be to USC or UCLA or UC Davis or Sac State, if you took Algebra 2 as a freshman or took Integrated Math 3 as a freshman and then went on to pre-calculus and did calculus your junior year and then stopped. And you struggled through and got some B's and maybe a C+, but then, okay, you ended up getting an A. That's not going to look as good as if you started at Integrated Math 1, Integrated Math 2, Integrated Math 3, pre-calculus with all A's. The guy that did, or the lady or the girl or the student that did the A's in Integrated Math 1, Integrated Math 2, Integrated Math 3, and then got to pre-calculus is going to have a better GPA. They're going to look better when you compare their classes and their rigor of their schedule. And they're going to be more prepared because they're not only going to have the knowledge, they're going to have exceeded their ability in gaining that knowledge, and they're going to have a stronger foundation for when they go on to college, even if they go into a science degree and take calculus.
Foundational, I think it's easy to forget that here at this level, at the high school level, foundational skills are key. That kids have a very strong platform to jump from, because no one's doing foundational work in college. If you need foundational work in college, you've missed the boat.
They're doing some at community college.
They do, well, absolutely, community college. And colleges will let you take a remedial course. But remember what I said before, classes here are free. Classes there are not. So if you have to be remedial back in college, you're now paying for a class that was offered here for free that your child clearly did not master.
And integrated math 1, 2, and 3 are considered high school level. Anything past integrated math 3, which is the old algebra 2, is considered college level. So when we're talking remedial work in college, it's integrated math 3 and below.
So that's really important for us all to recognize that we want kids here, we don't want kids to go off to college and have to remediate any of their coursework that they did here, not English, not math. Typically those are the two big ones. We want them to have a strong mastery of them here. So if they have to go a little slower to be stronger in their foundation, that's okay.
Now, if you are a freshman taking integrated math 2 or 3 and you're getting it because you just have your brain wired that way and you're getting A's, definitely there are areas to exceed those curriculums past integrated math 3. Even if you hit calculus, I have a junior that took calculus as a sophomore and is taking Calc 3 at AR her junior year while in high school. That is an option for you if that fits your need. Yes, ma'am. I did.
Right.
Was your question, can you move ahead if you're ready to?
Yeah.
Yes. There are definitely ways that you can move ahead if you're ready to. We just stress that make sure you're ready, because it's better to get an A, even in a B, in a higher level class.
And always plan, especially in regards to math, to plan for 4 years. There's a little bit of data that says that those kids that take a year off from math along the way tend to not score as high on their SATs. And that's a component of it as well. So you want to plan for 4 years. So if you're accelerated in middle school and you know you're going to be accelerated in high school, and then you think about, what do the next 4 years look like for me?
Right.
And is that going to be a path that's going to work for me?
Right. For example, my niece, when they were in the old pattern of algebra, geometry, algebra 2, she was accelerated in math in middle school and started her freshman year taking algebra 2. Sophomore year, she took pre-calculus. Well, she hit her wall. She realized that in college, she's now a musical theater major at Indiana University, so she realized she wasn't going to need any math. But Bella Vista, which is the school we went to, didn't have any offerings for juniors other than calculus. It was calculus or nothing. Senior year, you can take a senior math class or a math statistics class to count for a math. But here she was, starting junior year, she kind of fumbled through pre-calculus, not really understanding. So her option was to retake pre-calculus or not have a math.
And like I said, we know that some of the data around not taking a math can be kind of poor. So you need to be in a math.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it really complicated for kids when they're accelerated.
Just think, we're talking about 4-year planning more next week. When you're doing those 4-year plans, you just want to project out. You just want to say, okay, what's next? Don't just look at the here and now, look at what's next.
And that's why those A through G lists are so important.
Yes?
What if you can't get the math class you want? Because I've heard like some students are like, they can't get certain classes. So, yeah.
Typically,
Like an example?
Yeah, you can explain. I think we had to skip,
I had to skip pre-cal, and now I'm taking AP stats, and
Be-
I haven't taken pre-cal at night.
You had to skip pre-cal because it wasn't offered in the period that you needed it? That happens. Sometimes when master schedules are built, they're built on student requests the previous spring. So sometimes if not enough students need a class, like let's say only enough for 2 sections of pre-calculus were requested, so they staffed 2 sections of pre-calculus, and maybe they decided those were going to be first and third period, for example, and you had a class that conflicted with that, it's a matter of a choice. Or maybe they had enough for 2.5 sections, but not quite enough for 3. So then they kind of gamble that some people are not going to quite make it there, even though they're requesting it, so they go to 2. So it might say, okay, the people that, you know, they might balance out. That's the way that it works when classes.
Class through Apex?
You could.
We don't recommend math.
We don't recommend math, especially for the first
For
time.
Apex.
We do some math and credit recovery through Apex, whereas if you've tried it and failed and retake it, we're doing a section like that.
Like, can you take pre-cal at Sierra College? Like, if she
You
really
could
wanted
take
that
pre-cal
class.
at Sierra College if you
Yes.
really wanted pre-cal, but AP Stats might even fit the bill even better for the direction that you want to go into. If you're not going into a science-heavy major in college, AP Stats might even be a better direction for you.
And I think it's important to recognize pre-calculus is not foundational for statistics.
Correct.
So it's not something, if you were going into, if they were saying calculus this semester and you hadn't taken pre-calculus, then I'd be someone saying, oh, wait a minute. But pre-calculus isn't foundational for statistics, and so hopefully that's working out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. All right, let's keep rolling. Valuing the work. This is one of my favorite slides in regards to, especially with middle school kids, because I think high school kids start to get it, but with middle school kids, I think that this is so important to see in this example, because one of the things that I noticed with middle school is missing assignments is king. It's the one problem that kids tend to have more than anything else in middle school are missing assignments, and they really kind of dominate your life in the world of grades. In this example, a child got an A, a C, an F, a B, an F. But with these two assignments here, they didn't turn them in at all. They're complete zeros. There was nothing turned in. This student is now getting an F in this class. Now, if you look in the second column, you can see the grades are exactly the same. They got an A, a C, an F, a B, an F. But in these situations, the child didn't feel strong about their coursework. They maybe only finished half of the homework assignment because they had to go to
Maybe
bed.
turned it in late for half credit.
Yeah, okay, turned it in late for half credit, but it was turned in. Now, they have a C. That's pretty notable. This is passing. This is failing. This is only 2 missing assignments. I see kids sometimes that have 15 missing assignments. What does that do to your grade? We really want to encourage kids to make sure that they're always turning in their work. Even if they've attempted it, even if they don't understand it, even if they're struggling through it, even if it's something where you're on Khan Academy and you're just trying to figure it out and you know, you're getting partial credit for all your answers because you really didn't know what you were doing to begin with. This is such a better scenario for your child than this. The F
students
is
out there, too.
devastating. Yes.
And you know, missing assignments are kind of like, it's like once you have a missing assignment and you don't turn it in, and then things go on and things keep rolling, it's like, oh, okay, well that wasn't so bad, and I moved on and I did well on my test and great. They're easily forgotten, and it's easier to repeat them. You develop kind of an immunity of the effect of what it's like to have a missing assignment.
Until you get
But-
here.
And then you get, well, wait a minute, how did that happen? And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, when you're looking at students in high school and they don't have their grade, because yes, we want to focus on learning and knowledge, but the grade is still important. I mean, let's get real. It's your GPA, it's what's going to get you to college, it's what's going to get you to graduate. It's the measuring stick that they use is your GPA, your grade. You have to have all of those free points. When someone doesn't do an extra credit assignment, it just, those are free points. You don't want to be little point mongers,
And this
but
is such
they're
a
free.
key, because this is, I see this often with kids in tests. Test, homework, homework. And boy, those missing homework assignments will just weigh you down
Yeah,
like
the
a
only
stone.
scenario that this doesn't work in a lot of math class tests are weighted more than homework.
course.
And in those, of course, this is just a basic example, but just a strict illustration.
Any questions?
Points are good.
Points are good. And in our home, that was the one thing we always tried to kind of send home was that we didn't expect perfect grades, but we did expect every assignment to get turned in. And if an assignment wasn't turned in, then there was consequences.
And that's why I like Q. Q Parent Portal, I don't pay that much attention to the grades on Q Parent Portal, but I look at the assignments. I want to make sure that nothing is red, that there aren't any missing assignments. I might look at an assessment or a test just to see how they did on that particular grade, but the overall grade, 9 times out of 10, it's not accurate. and maybe they've put in assignments that aren't graded yet, or it's skewed differently, or even the teachers have a box checked wrong. But you know if a teacher has a score for your student for each of those assignments that are in queue. So as long as there aren't any holes or missing assignments and everything looks like it's getting to be some value, then you're good.
Absolutely. So, what are some of the things we can do as parents to improve this layer of support? I do think that trust is a really important component of it. We need to be able to have a dialogue with our kids about the work they're doing. And it's really hard for kids, in all fairness to them, because they don't know what they don't know. It's really hard to articulate to a parent. I hear parents say all the time, he doesn't ask for help, I don't know how I can support him, I don't know what the strategies are that he needs. But the truth is, he doesn't know what he doesn't know. So having that trust with your child and the conversation and dialogue to be able to dissect the work that they're doing is such an important part of the equation.
Exactly.
Let's keep going. Okay, testing.
Okay, we're going to talk just a little bit every time about some tests and the testing that is around education. Of course, in education, everything's in an acronym, right? So why are the tests any different? Of course they are. And we'll go into more detail next week about the specifics of SAT, ACT, AP, IB, AP, and all that. But these are some common ones. These are like the big hitters. EAP is an assessment test that students will take their junior year, and it's linked to the state Smarter Balance assessments. So what it is, it's basically a determination of college readiness, and it's used by the CSU system, and it can exempt them from placement tests. It's not used in admissions. SAT and ACT are your college entrance admissions tests. They're required for anybody that's applying to a four-year university right out of high school. Placement tests are given at every level, from community college to the most private of privates. They have placement tests for English, for math, and even sciences. The CSUs and UCs make you take a chemistry readiness placement test now. You can be exempted out of those placement tests in some situations by the EAP, your SAT score, your ACT score, but sometimes nobody is exempted from them and you just have to take them. Like at ARC, for example, it doesn't matter if you've taken the SAT, the ACT, the EAP, calculus, AP tests and everything, you still have to take a placement test. So you still have to produce at a level, and if you place in Algebra 2, because of your performance on the test, you're taking Algebra 2, even if you've taken it already in high school. So there they really care about your knowledge base and the skills that you've acquired.
In some situations, you are allowed to take a placement test a second time, but it's rare.
Right.
So they really want that first test to be your strongest and best test attempt.
And those are taken in the spring of your senior year, typically. Also, you will need to take them if you're a high school student looking to take a class at American River College or Sierra College.
Question?
Question?
I noticed the ASVAB test.
The ASVAB?
There
Yes.
For the kids that want to go in the
In the military?
Right.
Yes. The ASVAB is another test that's given pretty much universally over every school. We give ours at Del Campo in December, but it's another aptitude test that basically measures, it's ASVAB, ASVAB, right? And it's basically measures, it gives you a score for military entry. They look at it to see what areas in the military would be a good fit for you. And the nice thing about it, in high school, you can take it as many times as you want. But once you graduate from high school, you can only take it once. So it's a nice way to seek out in your high school, starting even your sophomore year. CASA has an ROTC program, so I know it's there. Del Campo has an ROTC program. I'm almost positive the other schools, even without an ROTC program, offer the ASVAB, but it's something that you can ask about it. Did you want to say more about it?
No, I just wanted to add it to an important test. The kids that want to go in the military, you have to take that. It measures aptitude. It measures a lot of different skills, including math, mechanical skills, and so forth. So.
Definitely, it's a great career. It's a great career placement test, even for students not wanting to go into the military, because it kind of gives you a picture of. It's free. It's free. It's a free test. It gives you kind of a picture of what your skills and abilities and likes are. Yes.
What would you have to do if you wanted to be like a police officer or something like that?
Well, see, that is to be a police officer, what would you have to do? It's a very broad question that has a lot of answers. My favorite answer to questions is it depends. And that's a big, it depends. There are lots of things that you can do. You can start out at a college. You can start out at a community college. You can even start with a law enforcement ROP class in high school to prepare yourself to go into an academy. If you get more education under your belt first, then when you're going into the academy, you would be more of an officer. But there's lots of different things that you can do.
Okay.
And now so many programs offer criminal justice as an option for kids, that you can get your bachelor's degree in something like that and then make the transition to being a police officer. as
Exactly.
you
And then
graduate.
AP tests. AP tests are given every year in May. They're run by the College Board, which is the same company that does the SAT. They're expensive. No cost for the EAP. Usually no cost for placement tests, but that's actually not always true. AP tests test your ability on a particular subject. Typically, students take an AP class, and then they choose whether or not they want to test in May. You don't have to take the test if you take the class, and you don't have to take the class to take the test. So students that are very, like native speakers of Spanish, for example, they can come in and test and take the AP test without having AP Spanish, and if they score a passing score, that's what they use to determine if they get college units or not. Yes?
Can you take the AP test sooner? Because I'm taking my AP stats class now,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it's in the spring. There's like a 4-month gap.
Yes.
When I end the class.
That, you know, if
So the question was-
is, can you take your AP test sooner than May? No. That is the problem with the block schedule. That is one of the issues. If you take a class in the fall, you will have a slight gap between the time that your class ends to the test in May. However, the benefit of that is typically the tests are the first or second week in May. If you're taking that class in the spring, or even at a traditional schedule, you might not have covered the whole curriculum because class goes through May, even into the first week of June sometimes. So it kind of balances out. You'll get through the curriculum and you'll have a couple of months to review before you take the test in May. They're set nationally by College Board. So you can go and find out when your AP statistics test is right now. And you'll know exactly when it is. And everybody takes it the same exact time. And they're typically about $100.
So did you say you can take the tests without taking the class?
Yes.
But you have to pay.
You can take
Everybody
the
has
test
to pay.
without taking the class.
Yes. Yes, you can. The question is, can you take the test without taking the class?
Sure.
Yes, you can take the test without taking the class.
If you wanted to sign up for every AP test and sit for them and take them,
The
it's
class-
$100 each.
The
Sure.
class prepares you for the test. And the class gives you the curriculum to say, okay, we have deemed that you're ready to take the test. The test score is what awards you the college credit. So taking the class isn't going to give you college credit. Passing the test is going to give you college credit. So for example, through the CSU and UC system, every AP test that you pass gets you 6 units. 6 units. That's 2 classes. Sometimes it's elective units, depending on the test. Sometimes they're specific, like if you pass the English language composition, you actually get credit for English classes. My son started school with 36 units. That's insane.
It's a whole year.
It's a whole year. He was able to graduate with a mechanical engineering degree in 4 years, taking no more than 12 units.
$100 every time he takes the AP.
$100 every test you take.
I agree.
36.
So it's not one of those wing it tests.
Those were 5 tests.
Yeah.
6 tests.
Six.
Six tests. 6 tests. So
Yeah.
$600 for 36 units.
But when you equate that to tuition, it's a bargain. It's a bargain.
You have to be careful because a lot of the AP physics that are out there are AP Physics algebra-based physics. AP Physics A and there's AP Physics B. A lot of the algebra-based physics, though, you pass those, you're not going to get the physics equivalent in college. So you may get the units, but they might not do anything for you because you'll have to take, if you're in a technical major, the physics class anyway. So those are all things to consider. 3 is a passing score for most schools. Sometimes they'll only take 4s or 5s. So it's a 3, 4, or 5 is a passing score. Those are all things to consider. There are fee waivers available for the AP tests, as well as for the for the ACTs and the SATs. So if you're on free and reduced lunch or qualify for free and reduced lunch, you can get a fee waiver.
All right, so we're going to move to Naviance now.
Let's
That's the
move to
next slide.
Naviance.
So I'm going to walk you guys through. Everyone here should have a Naviance login at this point. So we go to sanjuan.edu. For kids that have their own, please feel free to log on to your own Naviance.
What is Naviance? Who knows? Who knows with enough confidence to be able to tell us? Yes.
A website.
Naviance is a website. Great information. Does anybody have any more than that? Yes.
When we used it last year, we used it for it's like academics testing, career testing, stuff like that.
Yes, it is a support program. Career testing. What else can you? It is a website. What can you do with the website? No, you're going to find out. Naviance is a support program that's purchased by our district to help students along the college-going and career process. It offers resources, information, and basically a one-stop shop to log interests as well as keep track of what you're doing. It's kind of a support to the student information system that we has all the information, whereas Naviance is, okay, let's learn more about ourselves, let's get ready to explore careers and colleges, and let's store them all in one place so when we're ready to apply, we have everything in one spot. The way you get there is not linked with all the portals. If you have a portal, and you know the new portals this year links everything, there is a little Naviance button on there, don't use it. Doesn't work, as we discovered, right? You have to go into it independently. You have to go to sanjuan.edu.
Oh, you want me to go back?
And that's fine. sanjuan.edu. Now, a parent's going to have a unique logon to Naviance, and a student is going to have a unique logon to Naviance. The parents don't have as many capabilities within Naviance as the students do, but they see the same information. As we talked about last week, each student has their own account. So if you're a parent of multiple students, you have, it's not like Q where one login gets you all your students, you have a login for each student because each student's Naviance account is unique.
All right, so I'm going to go to Parent Portal. I'm going to go down here to Naviance.
This is the way to get to the parent one,
Oh,
not
really?
the student one.
Okay. And then I go to Family Connection and you pick your school. I'm going to pick Bella Vista.
Is it the same link?
Yeah, I think it's the same
Okay.
link. Because I log in with my sons.
Okay.
He loves that. I do that.
So for all students out there, your Naviance login, your username is your 6-digit student ID. It's not your ID that you use for Google Docs or your portal. It's your 6-digit student ID, and your password is your birth date.
It's your 8-digit birth date. So that
8-digit
would
birth
be,
date.
like for me, my birth date is 03/01/1970. That's my nice long birth date. And so it's the same with kids. So in this field, if you're a parent, you can go ahead and your username is your, you know how old I am now. If you're logging in as a parent, the username is your email address that we talked about as we went around. And the password is either the password I gave you or it's a password that you have set up in the system. So I'm using my son's. And
you know,
this is
parents,
him.
again, with that communication piece, throughout all of my kids' Naviance, I used their login. It was just easier to remember just one. And as long as you have that communication and trust, and they know that you're not going to get in there and like, they don't need to do that and erase that college, and yes, they need to be doing and add this college. As long as you're not doing stuff like that, that's where the trust comes in, and you can use their login.
Yep, so please feel free to take a minute now, log in. If you have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll help you get on. Okay.
Is everybody logged on? Yes.
And when you go to log on,
Once you get
been
onto
registered.
Naviance, the best thing to do is just start playing around with it.
your email.
If you look at the top,
Password's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
you will see that there are tabs.
All right. Oh, I did want to share something about this page. Can you go down to the links on the side?
Oh, sure.
So this is the difference between the adult account and the child account. Right here. There are less links for parents. We don't need the Prep Me link. So our pages are not loaded with some of these links. So this Prep Me link here is the SAT Prep course that is available through Naviance. It's free, it's good.
The district pays for it.
The district pays for it, and it's an excellent tool.
It's going to be replaced by another Naviance Prep link. It won't be Prep Me anymore, but it will still be it's supposed to be even better, but we don't have that one yet.
And
It's
some
coming.
of these same links over here aren't available on the parent side. It's okay that they're not available on the parent side, but it's just something for us to be aware of. I've had parents call me and say, I can't find the
So,
SAT Prep.
Again, with another
kids.
comment on those links, when you click the home button, wherever you play around, you click the home button, it'll take you back to the link page. Not every school has the same links on each site. As you get into high school, you will have more links. And as even you progress from year to year, more links will open. We put college application links that are pertinent only to seniors once you become a senior and that link suddenly appears. Sometimes juniors will have different links than freshmen. It's controlled by your school site. So if you're not happy with the links that are available on your Naviance page, contact your school and have them add them. Because it's controlled by somebody at your school site. And
The career counselor?
it depends. It's different. Ours is run through our counseling office. So Mr. Evans and I are the two counselors that control what goes on it. If I pull up Del Campo's, this is Bella Vista's.
This is Bella Vista's because it's
Ours
my
is-
son's, and
ours
we'll be
is
able
better.
to see some of the things he does. Because
Ours has more.
it's nice to see a senior's data. But it's nice to see what you're working towards and what it culminates and looks like when you're kind of there.
But you can see it has a link to Zangle Connect, a link to CSU Mentor, which is the application and information site for the CSU system, a link for FAFSA, a link for registering for the SAT, for the ACT, for the NCAA, for all those athletes out there, because you need to register with the NCAA to play college sports. And then the NCAA Eligibility Center, which is actually the interactive site for students. It also has links up at the top, which are connections to what's available in Naviance. So you have a place in here at the tabs on the top to store colleges that you're thinking about or colleges that you're applying to, and you can directly jump to those pages by clicking on those links on the side, even though you can always access them from going to the tabs up at the top. This is how it's formatted.
Let's hit courses though first.
Okay,
to go
the
into it.
tabs at the top tell you about the different areas in Naviance. Courses, colleges, careers, about me, and my planner. Those are the main subjects. Looking at courses first, and you scroll down, you can see the menu options that are available under courses. This is where your course plans are stored. Some schools will have students do a 4-year plan. Does your son have any?
Yeah, I think if you hit View My Course Records, and he does have the A through G plan loaded. So these are all of his courses. If you scroll this bar over, you'll see not.
Now this is all uploaded information by the system. It's not self-reported and inputted information. And so in doing that, there are a few bugs and there are some inaccuracies. So when you're looking for credit potential, like we looked at on the transcripts, that's where you want to look, is the Q information in your transcript. If you're seeing if I'm on track to graduate or if I have all my credits, use Q and use your transcript. But this is a general picture. Okay, so
It's nice
that's
to kinda know where you're
nice
at.
to kind of see. And then you have your colleges, which gets a little bit more, more information, more opportunities for exploration and different things that you can do. This is where a lot of schools store the college visits that they have coming to their campus. We have it set up at Del Campo that students register for the college visits on Naviance. So here they can look and see, oh, UOP's coming, and oh, St. Mary's is going to be here next week. And they can click the register button and register for those college visits through Naviance.
Why don't we hit that one?
Colleges I'm thinking about.
Yep. So kids can add through the platform that they're working on, colleges they're thinking about, and parents can go through their platform and add colleges to their kids' page so that their kids can consider those colleges and see what they're doing. Let's hit Cal Poly Pomona, just to see that. So when you load a college, go ahead, go down. You can kind of see on here, as your child gets older, their information is going to start to be loaded. This is my son's GPA. This is his combined SAT score and his 2400 score. And in this setting, as with all things, green is go, red is stop. Please note that they're showing this GPA in red, and they're showing these SAT scores in red. This is the average entrance GPA, the average entrance SAT score, and the average entrance 2400 SAT score. In this situation, my son does not meet any of these expectations. So as a family, as we start looking at, do we pay $70 for an application to this particular school? It wouldn't be unreasonable for us to maybe say no. You know, he was close on one of them. I might say, oh, well, that's really a close one. We'll give it a try. Because you can go up, and we're going to look at a scattergram.
And you scroll down, and in the college research, that's how I get to scattergrams. So you get to the scattergrams. What a scattergram is just a really cool depiction of our district and our personal student records and their levels of acceptance. So
By history of who's been accepted.
So let's look at Cal Poly Pomona.
Okay.
It's under
Scattergrams
the
with further
colleges
down
tab.
under the colleges tabs. All right.
Now, some people might not have that option if they don't have that turned on at their site.
Love
so
this, though.
If you don't have that option, that's where you would go to your school site and say, can you please turn on scattergrams?
So this is a great example of this little circle is my son. You can see there's some green boxes are kids that got into Cal Poly and were accepted. So lots of green boxes on this side that denote a higher SAT score and a higher GPA. You can kind of see where they meet in the middle here, and those are the averages that we see reported. Right here, where are they? Okay, see, accepted average. I thought it showed it. So the accepted average SAT score was 1741.
Yeah, the
And-
average is up in the top corner.
So here it is, sorry, this 3.82. And that's where that intersects, right there. But as you can see, there's kids over here that got accepted, even all the way down here, a 3.0-ish kid with not such a great GPA, SAT score, was accepted. Who knows why?
He was an
So
athlete.
when you do look at that,
He was an
originally Cal Poly Pomona was a school I was thinking, oh, maybe we're not going to waste the money on that. But in this situation, when you start to look at the scattergrams, you can think, well, honestly, maybe that's not such a bad idea.
Because admissions are not an exacting science.
Yeah.
There is gray. There is lots of gray. There's gray areas all over the place with admissions. We can only give an estimation, a best guess, as it will. So that's colleges. So that's one thing that's available under the colleges tab. Another thing that's available under the colleges tab is a college search. You can do a college match based on the information they have for you in Naviance. If you're a younger student, they don't have a lot of information for you. You can just do a plain college search, college lookup, college compare. And also the scholarship search is a great tool. The scholarship list, they'll do a scholarship match. You turn on the scholarship page and look at all of those scholarships. Those are pretty cool.
So these, and a lot of them, what we've noticed just going through it as trial and error as a family is a lot of them seem to be kind of crafted for my son, although the women of AT&T scholarship necessarily wouldn't be for him. But there are a lot of great opportunities. We would have never been able to find these through a typical Google search. I would have spent hours and hours searching online. So this is a great
And if you
tool.
don't want to go through every list to see, okay, what are the requirements? Oh, no, that's not me. No, that's not me. Then you would do the match, and they could filter based on information that you put in. So that's the colleges tab. Great tab. Career tab, another great tab. You can do a great career interest inventory or career interest profiler. You can do a cluster filer. You can do a personality type matching to different career types. And these are all assessments your student can take. Be wary, sometimes you can only take them once, and then they need to be hard reset by the person at the school site. so you can take them and get your results.
Here, get it. What I really want to suggest is make sure that your child's doing that with their school program. Middle school kids tend to do the cluster finder. High school kids tend to do the.
So this is the assessment, and this is your. Did he do it?
Yeah, go back up. Is it not his? He has as an ENF. He's
Oh.
an ENFJ for his Myers-Briggs assessment. So what is that? But it's really great to have. It's neat for the kids to get to have a sense of, are they investigative? Are they, what's the E?
Extrovert.
Extroverted. What are great careers that go with those personality traits for them? And they'll
About-
suggest some.
About Me, they have pages where you can set goals, and again, these are SMART goals. We'll talk about more about SMART goals in week 4. SMART goals are good. You can do a Strengths Explorer, which kind of investigates certain strengths that you might have, as well as Game Planner. There's Game Plan Survey. This is a survey. Now, Bella Vista has a lot turned on. Your school might not have this many items turned on, but again, if it's not there, seek out the information. Contact your school. Say, hey, can we have more turned on in our Naviance account? And they'll meet your need.
And some schools do some great survey work through this. Believe it's Del
And then you can do a
Campo
planner.
that does their voting for homecoming and things like that through Naviance. Kids just log on. They do all of that. It's a great platform for communication. Seniors this year will be asked to do a senior survey as they exit. That'll all be accessible through Naviance for them. We kind of want to know what their thoughts were as they start to culminate. So there's great tools on here. Kids, as they transition to high school, should be on this regularly.
Another thing I like about the careers page is, let's say I just want to explore a career. I just want to find out more about it. Let's say, what's a career that somebody said, let's do a stab in the dark, something I can spell.
Architect, yeah.
Okay.
Marine, yeah.
Let's do a marine biologist and see what we get.
I know, this is just fun.
Okay.
Where'd it go? Okay. Oh, down, yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's down.
so basically 3 careers were found. A natural sciences manager, a biologist, a zoologist, and wildflower biologist. Okay, you know what, let's just be more general and look at a biologist. So you click on biologist, and it will tell you an overview,
Hit the wages.
a description, the tasks and activities, and the wages.
Oh, this one doesn't have it. So usually it'll show you by state average wages for that field, which is so much fun to kind of be able to look at and get a sense
You can
of
also
how
see
much are people
related
earning.
occupations, and from that area, you can look at related occupations, and let's say I'm going to look at a microbiologist as an occupation. Let's see if that one has wages. Ah, that one does.
Very
So
fun.
that one has wages, maybe the other one wasn't
California?
specific enough.
Maybe so. In California, it'll tell you 90% at least made
sorry.
that much.
So
So it's
then-
really fun to kind of be able to walk that through with your
And back on the
kids.
overview, it also tells you that related college majors. So if I want to be a zoologist, what's my major? If I want to be a wildlife biologist or even a botanist, what's my major? It tells you the majors that are related to that, and then you can find colleges that have that major. And from there, it lists you a national search of all the colleges that contain that major. And from here, you can go, oh, Berkeley, and you can go and click on Berkeley, and it takes you to Berkeley's site. So there they have, you know, this is the number of apps in our district,
That's it. Hit
the
compare
number
me.
that are accepted, and the acceptance rate.
What compare me?
Compare.
At the top.
And why is that with Sac State? Because
There we go.
CSUs admit
Go down.
with a local area. So we have, all the Sacramento students have preference at Sac State, and they have a lower admission standards than students all over the rest of the United States and state.
And so that overlaps report, what we just pulled up, were just a bunch of local schools to UC Berkeley, and then overlaps that show you, remember, green is good, red is not, red is stop. So then it takes your child's data and it runs it against all these schools that are local to the one we picked.
Chico State's good.
Chico-
Sonoma State's good.
So you can start to look at your own child's data in relation to entrance data for the school and the district.
And again, these change
helpful.
every year. So doing it now is going to give you an idea of what the future is going to hold, but not necessarily a definite prediction.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions about Naviance? I'll log into Aaron's.
Well, you guys feel free to play at your leisure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, while Tracy works her way around, we're going to take a real quick look at the parent portal. And it sounds like a lot of people here already access it. How many people here access parent portal? Okay, yay! That's such great news. So this is me and my kids. We have 2 children currently in the district. I have an 8th grader at Andrew Carnegie Middle School and a 12th grader over at Bella Vista High School. It shows where they're at. When they pull up their student portal information, they only see their own. So student portal is all the same information except for the fact that they don't get access to each other's. So my sibling, as siblings, they can't see each other. So we'll go ahead and pull up my senior, just because seniors tend to have just a ton more data and it's fun to look at them. Okay, so like we've said before, always make sure that, kids in their senior year, they take funny pictures. That was his funny shirt. Please make sure that we have all your data right on here. You always want to make sure that we've captured correct information and phone numbers. This is the information that tells you where your phone number, make sure it's all correct, what schools they've gone to, where they've been, siblings in the district. Even my oldest, who's no longer a student, is listed on here. So that might happen. You might see a student that has moved on from the district still on there. As we roll down, you'll see enrollment history for your child, and then their current schedule. And typically middle school kids should be able to see their current schedule. We'll continue to roll down, and then you'll start to see grades, which I love, tons of fun. You always want to hit this show all button. The show all button will take the history all the way back. If you don't hit it, you only get the last 2 weeks. So you do want to be able to look, if you're a parent looking for missing assignments or other information like that for your child, or just a history of the work they're doing and how they're doing, this is a great tool to be able to do that. Let's see, we're going to continue to roll down. It'll show missing assignments. Senior year, man. So you can see here the missing assignments are in red. So he's got a couple. Class average, I love it when teachers turn this on. So you can see everyone else turned this in except for him. So
Another thing, how many students know that their teachers grade on a 5-point grading scale and not the traditional 70, 80, 90%? Anybody yet? You have teachers that uses the 5-point scale?
A few.
So yes, you too?
Our art teacher.
Art teaches a 4-point scale. It's a lot. It's kind of a lot of the new way to grade. It's a different scale. So the percentages aren't going to be the percentages that we know and love as the 90s an A and the 80s a B and the 70s a C, because the top is 5 and proficient is 3, and 4 is a little over proficient and 5 is a lot over proficient, exceedingly proficient. So a 3 is a good score on a 5-point scale. A 2 is approaching. So you have to be wary and be aware of that and acknowledge that. And how can you tell, and what is the percentage in relation to that 5-point scale? This little key right here, this little printer button, is magical. When you click on it, you can see that progress reports and the semester reports. And if you click on the print progress report preview, you see the whole work laid out in a different format. And it breaks it down into assignments and tests and in-class work, however the teacher sets it up. And then at the very bottom, keep going.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
At the very, very bottom, the teacher posts their rubric for grades. And you can see that this one's the straight 70% is a C, and the D's are in the 60s, and all their other grades and what they're awarded. Not all teachers look the same. Every teacher will have a different grading scale rubric. Some teachers don't give D's. Some teacher, 55 is a C minus, and then it goes right to an F grade. The rationale behind that is because D's, they earn credit for you in high school, they don't really do much of anything else. So you work for that C or you take the F.
Any questions about, this is a great tool to be able to kind of see what what is out there. And for me personally, I've used this. My middle guy struggled with missing assignments a little bit. So that was always our little benchmark. I would print it out on Thursday night. So he could see what he was missing. He had a chance Thursday evening to, complete any missing work. He'd go to school with it on Friday. The teacher would have to sign off where he had turned in, and that made the difference between having a life on the weekends
And teachers will
or
do
not.
that. Teachers will sign things off.
Oh, yeah.
Can you scroll down on the
You bet.
side so we can see the menu over here?
Sure, I'm sorry. Let me
That's
go
okay.
on the side.
On this side, right here. So this.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I just want to show you here. You can also see your student portal login credentials and your login credentials. So if you are on your parent portal and your student doesn't remember his password for student Q, which also takes them to his Schoology, which also takes them to his parent portal or student portal, all of those are right here.
Yep. And then, as the kids get older, it's really nice to be able to see. You can see graduation requirements, so you can see what my child is still short and what he still needs to complete. So he just needs 40 more credits, and he will be able to graduate. It shows your child's GPA. And as we were talking about before, if you're starting to fill out college apps and you want to be able to show a student history, it's on here. You can look on your child's transcript, and it shows all of their classes that they've taken and their grades, so that this would be the most accurate record that you have for your child. If you're looking for that real life data and don't have a printout of their transcript at home, it's a great way to pull it out. And it even shows marks, and I believe Q1 grades should be on here. Are they?
Yes. We have
For
term
some
1
schools.
grades on ours. CASA has already awarded credits this year.
Wow, okay.
And Del Campo, the
So
block
some
schools
schools
already
do.
have a semester worth of curriculum done in the books.
Okay. So any questions about what you're seeing on Q? Questions about Parent Portal? Please know that teachers, I think Tracy said this already, but teachers don't always update immediately. I'd say always give a teacher a 48-hour window to kind of get their information up. I've certainly gotten emails from parents when I was at a school site that said, he's got a missing assignment, it's in the, okay, give it another 24 hours. As they load, it'll look like a missing assignment.
And another thing I want to point out, which is another really cool key feature, is this email notification up at the top. Parents can opt in to receive email notification whenever grades are updated.
Or attendance.
Or attendance. So
Or
here you can
assignments.
see, attendance assignments, or just I want the report card periods. So whenever those happen, she can say, I want to get an email for this, and for this. So anytime that there is an alert, then you will receive an email. And parents have to opt into this. They have to go on to the email notification and say, yes, I do want to receive emails for those particular things for each student.
And I did, so when we did this last year, I didn't know about that, so I turned it on for myself. I turned attendance notifications on, and I got an email every day in regards to my child's attendance, tardy, absent, it was kind of nice to have it prompted. I knew I could look on here and find it, but to just have that little notification sent to my email was very helpful. And so for family members that are struggling with attendance, it is kind of a nice tool to have, especially the tardies. Because in a child's senior year, we do have a district expectation that kids attend, and kids that miss 24 periods
At a block school.
at a block school, I don't know exactly what it is at a traditional, if they miss that or more, they do not walk for graduation, which is scary. We want to be armed with that information up front, and sometimes our kids need a little encouragement to go and get to class on time. So that attendance marker can be really
It's
helpful
6
as they get older.
days. So I think it's 36 periods is at a traditional
At a
school.
traditional.
It's 6 days worth of unexcused attendance.
Schools will communicate that to you, so you don't have to know it now, but you'll find out as you get there. Okay, back. Anything else on here?
I think that's it. And
meaningful?
everybody hopefully knows that if from the assignments tab, you can also link directly to your students' teachers through their email. Just by clicking on their name, it links right to their email.
And I do have to say it's really nice to have that option. So as you're rolling through here and you decide, what's up with that missing? You can see that this teacher's name is underlined. If I were to click it, it would automatically open up a
Propagate an
email
email
box.
And make sure
I'd go.
that the show all box is always checked, otherwise you'll only see a week.
Oh, I thought it was 2. Okay.
2? Oh, you said
No,
2.
I think you're right. And even your child's like testing, now we've got, is that his testing or, yes. So testing's on here. If you ever had questions, I don't think I ever knew my standardized tests, ever.
And once you hit high school, standardized tests have changed so much. The exit exam is no more. The exit exam will most likely not be coming back. The Smarter Balance Assessment, which is the statewide assessment, is only given junior year. Freshmen and sophomores don't take it. Seniors don't have any standardized testing except for their college-related ones. There are some MAP testings and some things that freshmen take, but it's really cut down considerably.
All right.
All
Any
right, I think
questions?
we're good. Any questions? I know we went a little long, but it's all good stuff. Play around with Naviance. If you don't see something that we talked about, email us, email your school, seek it out. That information is there. It's a tool that schools are just getting used to using as well. If you kind of push the pressure on from the parent side that you want to use the tool, that'll force them to learn it and use it themselves.